r/AskReddit. What did your parents find in your room that you wish they hadn't? NSFW. A pocket pussy. My mom ended up throwing it at me in a fit of rage/disgust. She asked what would your friends think if they saw that. My response, they'd probably laugh. I would have just looked back and said, friends? I know, right? Who has time for friends? Half a pound of wheat. Watched my dad take a hammer to the bag, dump it all over the lawn, then ride the lawnmower over it. Now son, we are gonna sit here until you've smoked the whole bag. Please no. In middle school I found a European website about telekinesis and how it's real and how to do it. One of the exercises was to put a match in a cup of water so it floats. I stole matches and hid them under my bed. Mom found them and freaked the duck out. Had to explain I was trying to move it with my mind, not set the house on fire. Not sure which answer is worse. I'm not an arsonist. I'm just an embarrassing disappointment. When I was 13 we lived with my mom's best friend for 6 months. Until my mom got things figured out after the divorce. While visiting my dad a couple states away I was hanging out with some older kids who decided we should walk over to the health department to get free condoms. Wanting to be accepted by the group, I got a bag as well, hoping it implied that I was getting mad pussy in the city I currently lived in. One of the other guys asked me to hold on to his bag, and they both ended up in my backpack for the trip back to my mom's friend's house. When I was unpacking I found them, and not knowing what to do I poured them out under my mattress. The bags were lumpy. Cut to a couple months later, we are moving out, and my mom and her friend lift the mattress to find 40 condoms splayed out underneath. I was 13 and the only girl I interacted with was my mom's friend's 10-year-old daughter. It was such a frantic, awkward explanation. At least it was like an even 40 or something. Imagine if they had found like 39 because you lost one or some crap like that. That would have been much harder to explain. Or no condoms at all. That means he would have had X 40 times. An old sponge with a 5-inch deep hole in the center. I used to soak it up with water and wrap it in a towel. 14-year-old me was horny and ruthless. Like a real sponge? Bruh, that's some low-level bestiality. It's even necrophilic bestiality. Since sponges are quite literally dead sea creatures. I'm assuming that's how the magazines disappeared from between my mattresses. I don't know why I thought that was such a foolproof hiding place. Oh geez. That's rough. When I was 13 my dad figured that it'd be better for me to have some magazines so that I wouldn't feel the need to go online and get some really nasty hit. So the magazines were hidden under my mattress, as most teens had them. When I went off to my first band camp the summer before I started high school. Now, band camp took place out of town, so I was gone for the entire week. I got home from band camp and my parents told me I should go up to my room because they had a surprise for me. Turns out in that week my mom had decided that since I was now 14 years old and that I had been complaining of my back hurting from the old bunk bed I was sleeping on, that it was time for me to get a new full-sized bed. Part of me was excited, sure, because it was a much bigger bed. And it was all mine. Part of me was also freaking the duck out because I had those magazines hiding under the mattress. After I told them how excited I was, I managed to get a moment alone with my dad and asked, hey, so what happened to those, you know? And he said, don't worry. I hid them in the blue container in your closet. Mom didn't see them or anything. Good guy dad. Always watching out for me. Dad saved the day again. My naked, then, girlfriend. I had a room in the basement and could always hear someone come down the stairs. But we were getting freaking and I was a little too into it. My dad popped in to tell us dinner was ready, only to see my girlfriend riding cowgirl, head back, eyes closed, chest out. 100%. When I saw him in the doorway, he gave me the universal sign language for 5 minutes and closed the door. My GF never did find out that my dad got a full frontal from her. I did get a very awkward X talk however. Edit. Holy hit RIP my inbox. Give me just a few more hours then you can have that horrible cringe fest you're wanting. I promise. I have to get back home and kill this hangover. Then I'll be on here to tell the story. And if necessary, mini Amma. Patience. Young grasshoppers. Edit. Here we go mother duckers. Let's do this. I'm actually kind of drunk again, so ignore spelling errors. My dad called me out to the porch after my girlfriend left. He stated, talking really awkwardly, about the first time he had sex with an older woman. My GF is 4 months younger than me, which ended up moving to how he found my aunt, his sister-in-law, really attractive. Then he said something along the lines of, "It's okay. Just make sure you're using protection. You don't want to end up a father at 18 like I was." He was talking about conceiving me. Then my awesome dad, who was a total badass by the way, told me to act responsibly and to take care of my girlfriend. He kept saying it was my responsibility if I ducked up and I would ruin my life. He told me that I would ruin my life if I wasn't careful and that I had to take care of myself. He basically talked about how having a kid so young ducked me up. My dad said that if I messed up, I wouldn't have anyone to rely on, and it would put my life on hold. Edit 3. Wow. I should not have written that last night. Okay, here we go for the real story. Dinner was super awkward for me, with my dad giving me a hit-eating grin every time we made eye contact. My GF was confused, but just thought it was an inside joke. After dinner, my GF headed home, and when I came back inside from saying goodnight, my dad was waiting for me. He casually said we should hang out on the back porch, where he cracked a rear open and said, "Son, I know we talked about this when you were younger, but I have to make sure you understand the consequences and risks that go along with what you were doing before dinner." I had no idea what to say to that, so I just nodded with my entire body blushing. Dad went on to say, "Are you using condoms? I don't want you to be put in a situation where the rest of your life is controlled by one stupid mistake." I nod again, though at this point it's more of a spastic jerk of my body, since 95% of the blood in my body is in my face. Dad again took up the conversation. "Good. I want you to be safe. And if you need privacy, you needed to put something on your door. That's the way we did it." Ha ha ha. This was just him ribbing me. I think he was trying to make me stroke so nobody would ever touch me again. You're a good boy, and GF is a great gal, but you aren't ready for the responsibility of a child. I know you're independent, and Lord knows what I was like at your age, but I'm trying to give you a better life than what I had. Do you understand what I'm saying? I finally choke out a "yeah, I understand." "Good. You can go if you want. Just make sure you don't let mom or your sister catch you. And wash your sheets more often, now that you're doing more than sleeping." Duck. I beelined for my room as fast as I could. So there you go, Redditors. Cringy new for you? Looking back, that was freaking hilarious. Haha. I accidentally flashed my boyfriend's mom once. I was going into the bathroom to shower, and I thought no one else was upstairs, so I just went to walk naked into the bathroom as she came out of her bedroom. Oops. She's a nurse, so it's not like she isn't used to it. She's a nurse, so I'm sure she's used to it. I assure you, she's not used to seeing the genitals her son touches. Pregnancy tests. My ex-girlfriend was too embarrassed to buy them, so I did, and never got around to getting rid of the extras afterward. My parents found the box a couple of years after our relationship was over. I blew it off as a joke from some friends. Tests were negative. For the curious. Woo. Edit. I was confusing people. Hopefully it makes more sense now. How did it take years? Clarification. 2 tests were used. Both were negative. The non-used tests remained in my bedroom in a box. Unused tests were found. A 6-inch suction cup toy. I got it as a prank gift for my 18th. It was a weird conversation. Till that my username makes me seem like a female. Yeah. I bet you regularly get pranked by it. Pranked all night. It's a social experiment, bro. High school girlfriend wrote a note about how she wanted to tie me up and sexually abuse me with power tools. My mom found it, opened it, read it, and kept it. After confronting me about it, it made things super awkward between them. But I got my revenge by marrying that girl years later. So, as a result of my mother's nosiness, she irreparably damaged her relationship with her daughter-in-law. How was the power tool X? Let's just say I'd steer clear of the sander. Edit, a letter. A friend left a German porno mag in my room. True story. So I hid it under my bed thinking he'd be back the same day to get it, but my mom found it first. I hid the mag inside a Spider-Man comic. So she turns one page and sees a granny with a gaped arsehole. Safe to say, when I told her it was a friend's, which it was, she didn't believe me. Now she looks through every comic I own. Once a week. Dude. You're 37 now. Tell your mom to get the hell out of your house. It's mom's basement. She just hasn't kicked him out yet. Toy. My mom always liked going through my stuff for some reason. I knew she has seen it, but luckily she's never talked to me about it before. She's using it. Note how I am using past tense. She can't get to it anymore, ever. I was going to sleep one night when I heard a strange noise. Kind of like a rattling. Being the baby I am, I freaked out and ran into the front room to grab my parents as I was convinced something was about to explode in my bedroom. They came in, worked out the noise was coming from my bedside drawer, opened it and bam, my vibrator had switched itself on. After a few seconds of silence during which my mum tried her hardest not to laugh, my dad blankly said well, good night then and walked out. We've never spoken of it since. Oh my god. I kept my vibrator under my mattress. I had just gotten it that week. I went to bed and then I woke up to my whole bed just shaking. I was so freaked out. So when my mom walked by my room to go to the bathroom, conveniently right after I woke up, I said, Mom, my bed is shaking. And she just stopped, looked at me, and said it's probably your vibrator, and went to the bathroom. It was awful. I see you had it on the earthquake setting. My bag of pot, which I'm sure they ended up smoking. My dad once found a bong in my room, and I got in trouble for it. 6 months later I found it in the trunk of his car, and it looked significantly more used than when I'd last seen it. I'm taking this from you, son. Not because it's wrong, and I'm against it, but because it's so wrong that you aren't using it like it deserves, and I'm against that. Wife and I are moving. Wife put sex toys in box and tapes the hell out of it. My dad is helping us move. He picks up the box and it starts making a noise. One of the vibrators managed to turn itself on. My wife grabbed the box out of his hands and ran from the room. I was laughing so hard it almost ended in divorce. I read that as almost ended our divorce, as if it made you both remember all the laughs you shared. I was a weird kid. Basically I used to wank then finish into the small trash can in my room. I didn't really notice any problems with it until one day my dad walks in and is talking to me. He says I can see your shame then leaves. Didn't even realize what he meant until days later. I can see your shame. What an odd way to put it. That's a fantastic way to put it. And I can only hope to use it on my son one day. Me having sex with my then girlfriend. Mom had absolutely no clue what we were doing. She was in her own little world as she came in with clean laundry and began filling my dresser. Both of us were on the bed, mortified, frozen and nude. She turned to smile at us and suddenly went "Amagadimsa sorry" and quickly left. We both felt super awkward. Then my mom began giving her tips and they began to casually talk shop about our ex-life. Still not sure how I feel about it even today. Your mom sounds pretty chill. She is. She's a pretty cool mom. I'm thankful that things didn't turn out as horribly as they have when I've been caught by other women's parents. As my dad used to say, know how to get out a back door before you go into it. My Hot Wheels collection. I was 17. I'm 18 and away at college. My mom knows I like Hot Wheels, so sometimes she sends me snacks and puts a Hot Wheel in there too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But maybe there's something wrong with me. Haha. I'm 20 and at college and I have a dank Pokemon collection. 2 sheets of LSD. I had it in a picture frame behind a picture of my girlfriend. I'll never know how my dad found it, but he was pissed. $350 down the drain. That's an oddly specific place to search for your kid's contraband. My girlfriend. They have never seen your hands before. Ah. A spoon with a bunch of black soot on the bottom of it. Who eats soot in their room? Weirdo. Yeah. Normally I eat my soot in the dining room. Like a proper junkie. Pair of girls' panties. My mother wept. I had blown away her view of my innocence. I always knew my son was a cross-dresser. Ducking like and subscribe.